Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name is Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The book club. That's right, we are back talking about...
We're so back.
The Expanse.
Hell yeah.
Book 4, Cibola Burn.
Hell yeah.
Which is apparently something...
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's a
Someone
science
explained it in the
term.
Discord. I forgot already.
Oh, I missed that. Nope, I missed that for sure. Chat, what is Cibola Burn? Sounds
Cibola
like
Burn.
Ebola to me, and I just said, like, it sounds like a disease.
Ebola is awful. And
yeah, no, don't recommend. Not from experience, thank God, but, like, yeah, definitely don't recommend Ebola. Oh my God, how are we doing, chat?
I mean, if we could burn away Ebola, that would be rad.
That would be great, actually.
It says our stream status is poor. How is everybody experiencing the stream at the moment?
That's interesting. Looks okay for me.
Fantastic. I'm not going to care about it then.
Okay. If anyone is concerned about the stream quality, please do let us know. Hell yeah. Yeah, it feels so thrown off. Feels like a minute since I've done book club, because it is a minute since I've done book club.
Well, the problem now is we have book club next week. Just to get this out of the way before. We do have book club next week.
Housekeeping.
We are covering book 2 of
Cradle.
We're covering book 2 of Cradle, and then we are going to take 2 weeks off.
Yes, we are in Germany.
Because we are in Germany.
Yeah, if
we're in your mom chat.
If any of you is near Dusseldorf, Dokumicon is nearly sold out. So if you want to come say hi, you could do that.
Yeah, and then we begin an every other week schedule because we're in a different country every other week. So in the weeks that we're in Canada, we will be doing Dungeon Crawler Carl books 5 and 6 over the summer.
Yeah, which I'm very, very excited for.
Schedule's in the Discord. I'll put out a graphic today explaining the next chunk of time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry the schedule's changing. We are paring things down a little bit because the summer is so crazy. Yeah. But we just have some incredible opportunities, and we got to take them while we can, you know? Yeah. Earlier this week, we filmed the first season of Students of Strixhaven, our actual play, which is going to start coming out in June.
Hell yeah.
Really, really happy with how filming went. I'm so proud of the players and what they brought to the table, so I cannot wait for you all to see that. But I do need time to edit that. So we are...
the work has only begun.
Erudite Gaming says, traveling the world must be so hard.
Yeah.
You have no idea, okay? You have no idea.
Look, it'd be easier if planes were nicer. I'm just saying.
It would be so much easier like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When flying was like somewhat nice.
Yeah. When like the normal seats were the like basically like exit row seats, like. Yeah.
No, we're privileged as fuck, and we know that. I am joking about that. Right now it is a harrowing time to be flying internationally, because I'm like, will there be jet fuel? I don't know.
Who knows? We will see when we get there.
We're gonna find out on the day. While we're in Germany, we have a flight from Germany to France. And
not yet, but
well, we need to.
We're either gonna take a plane or a train. So
no, we have to fly because the train won't let us have enough bags.
Oh yeah, right? We could give some to Miko, but yeah, anyway, yeah.
The problem is, I'm like, if we get to Germany and then there's no jet fuel to get to France, what do we do? I'm here for a little while. You two are doing great. Johnny Coleman, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
What's up?
Thank you for 11 months being part of the Nerds Radiant. We appreciate you.
Damn, Embrice says, I have ear problems on flight, so it's a fun roulette of will I be in intense pain or will I be fine whenever I get on an airplane? Oh. Have you never found like an earplug situation that helps with that? I find the silicone earplugs that kind of mold into your ear, they stop my ears from popping on planes.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe something like that. It does, you can't hear anything. So if you're someone who does not like being, the outside being quiet, then that might be difficult for you. But I found those like moldable silicone earplugs. Might help. I don't know.
The only time I've ever been like in pain from flying is like this was like a decade ago now, but I had some kind of sinus cold thing going on, and it was so intensely painful, like taking off and landing because of the pressure change, like in my skull. Yeah, that was heinous. But otherwise, I feel like I do okay. It's just, you know, the seats are just not comfortable anymore. Like, anytime we get an older plane, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have screens, but at least the seats are more comfy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Flying's weird, man.
Aerodeck Gaming says, I'd say more 30. I don't know if you want to be flying just after 2001. I flew just after 2001. That shit was banging.
Oh, sure.
You had multiple rows to yourself. No one else was on the plane.
Fair.
You were basically alone.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
I can't remember why. But yeah, empty planes for like the first half of 2022
Weird,
or 2002.
Yeah. Definitely nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's...
Is that a tasteless joke? Probably. Is it too soon, chat?
Too soon? Yeah.
I do find it very funny.
Years.
It did feel like there was a large stretch of my life where like 9/11 jokes were jokes that no one told, except for Gilbert Gottfried. And then in the last like...
Not in Canada.
In the last like 10 years, it really feels like I hear a 9/11 joke weekly.
Oh.
If not more.
Okay.
Like a second something has hit the tower, or like even Smosh had that joke where a second Lego has hit the stream. Like, I just feel like it's become so ubiquitous to kind of joke about 9/11 as we've gotten older.
Yeah, it's a thing everyone can reference and understand and know what it is, and it's far enough away that people feel more comfortable with making jokes about it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just strange. I feel like I hear it all the time. Mm-hmm. We're here to talk about Cibola Burn, the fourth book in the Expanse Ninology. What's a ninology called? Pentas 5. What is 9 in that? There's got to be a word for it. Nonology? Oh, is it nonology?
Nonology.
Oh, a nonology.
Sure.
Nonna.
Love it. Oh my god.
This is my nonology.
I love that.
Come inside, have spaghetti with the meatball.
Yeah. Well, Belk in the chat over on Twitch is like, wait, 9/11's 25 years ago. Yeah. It's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute. Yeah, but we're here to talk about a book, and we'll put out the rest of the book club schedule for you guys. Hopefully later today.
Yeah, I'll have
with
it
a graphic. Cool. Great. Love that.
I'll have it up, chat. Clarus! Do you have any other announcements before we get started?
I'm playing Dispatch. Go watch it.
Yeah, or at youtube.com/@ClarisPolaris.
Claris Polaris.
Yeah, go check that out. Episodes 1, 2 are up. You filmed through episode 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Claris's Let's Play is happening. Claris is really pushing to get some content on that channel. And you're getting close to 30K subscribers.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Thank you. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
I like that game a lot.
And I think that's it. We're going to be at Dokumi. Come to see us. Claris, what did you think of Cibola Burn, the fourth book in The Expanse by James S.A. Corey?
It was good. It's pretty good. It's definitely not the first 3 books. In terms of like... Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad, like, by any means. I still think that it was well written, and I did enjoy it for the most part, but I don't have those same strong feelings for it that I do for the first 3 books.
Yeah, I think that it's fine. I notoriously took a lot of flack from the internet when we were reacting to the show.
Yeah.
For just not really enjoying the season, and particularly Murtry and the way people handle and like tiptoe around Murtry.
And now you're like, wait, no, the show actually did exactly what the book did.
Well, and what's funny is I thought the book was going to be very different from the show, because one of the big changes from book to show is that Murtry's in the crash. at the beginning of this
yeah.
original transport,
Yeah.
and in the book he's not.
Yeah.
And there's a scene on the not the Piccolo. What's his ship called? The Israel. The Israel, where he is like, we need to calm down, not snipe at each other, and we need to keep our we need to act in a way that is going to look the best legally for the company in the future.
Yeah.
And that conversation, I was like, oh, Murtry is not going to behave like he does in the book, which is just like kind of like pure sociopathy.
Yeah.
That Holden just lets happen.
Yeah.
And
Amos clocks it and is like, yo, that guy, problem. And Holden's like, it's fine. Like, yeah.
And I think that this book, to me, I separate into two halves.
Okay.
Really, it's really a book in three parts. There is the opening of the book, which I think is fantastic.
I agree.
Everything up until Murtry lands on the planet, I think is absolutely wonderful. I think it's so good. I think it's such a great setup. Then there is part 2 of the book, which is very long and very boring to me.
Is that moment after he lands, or is sorry, for my brain, for remembering, him landing and the like big explosion coming happen around the same time in the book, right?
Which big explosion?
The like one where they off the go shelter.
Were they off the go shelter?
They have to go shelter in the ruins.
No, those are not close at all.
No, all right, okay.
Wait, what? Murtry lands before Holden. What do you mean?
Oh,
the going and sheltering is
no,
wait.
You're right. Sorry, I was also rewatching the show, and so don't worry about it. Doesn't matter.
But that also is not how that happens in the show.
I know. Move on.
Okay. I was so confused. No, from the point where Murtry lands until the flood.
Right.
To me is a expanse of time in this book that is just not great, because it's Amos shows up and goes, you're bad, I'm gonna have to kill you, and this isn't gonna go well.
Yeah.
And then everyone just kind of keeps shooting at each other and killing each other and doing random shit to each other that's not great, leading to the inevitable conclusion, which is that they're going to end up shooting at each other. And despite that, and despite the fact that they keep escalating, Holden keeps like, well, we don't want to escalate. And he becomes, for a large section of the book, just an interminable character to read, as he is pretending that the situation isn't constantly escalating, even though it clearly is, and everyone keeps telling him that it is.
Yeah.
And I found it to be the entire stretch of the book there. I didn't like anybody.
Yeah.
I found everybody frustrating, and it's so long. And then the flood happens, and from there to the end, I think the book is pretty strong.
Yeah.
So overall, I do think the book is good.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's good.
I just think that there's that section in the middle where the characters can't actually come to blows because the book needs them to do that at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And so they just pretend that they're not at blows when they are, in a way that I found myself, like, for the first time in an Expanse book, feeling like I could see the structure of the book too much. And it took me out of the immersion of the book.
Yeah.
And then once the flood happens, from there on, it's actually, like, pretty great.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, it's that people are noticeably acting a little dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like, these books are very intelligent, and the people in them have always felt like full, well-rounded people, and I understand their decisions and why they do what they do, and this is the first time in the series where that wavers.
I mean, like, can we, like, the biggest example of this in the whole book, and I do think it's, like, it's so stupid. This might sound mean. When Alex sends Baja to save Naomi, I was like, no, I'm sorry, but, like, no. One man who's never been in combat is not going to storm a ship by himself and succeed. I didn't like there was no section of my brain, and I was so glad that Naomi got herself out, because if Baja had succeeded, I think it would have stretched my ability to have any like belief in the world of the Expanse at all. The fact that Baja goes and fails is the only way that could have played out.
Yeah.
Because when they started to talk about that's what was happening, I was like, Alex, did you hit your head?
Yeah, and to be fair, Alex is never the like super smart one. He's an incredible pilot. But yeah, his strategic thinking needs some work. A little bit of work. Now you don't always cut from the show. Yeah.
Oh, do I ever? Arazu, thank you for 5
Arazu!
Gifted memberships. That's so kind.
Thank you. So many books.
So many books.
These are all the books we're reading.
Literally. Yeah, no, it's not. It didn't like ruin the book for me. I think it would have ruined the book for me if he succeeded. The fact that it like came down to Naomi and Havelock talking and her getting herself out by like having a conversation with Havelock, and then Havelock having to kind of go down the hallways just so frustrated with the people he trained, because he's just
that is the funniest part of the book.
It's the funniest part of the book, without a doubt.
Him being like, guys, you are not ready for this. We didn't go over this in drills. You're gonna get hurt. Like, please, can we just not like?
Yeah. Oh.
But the racism is so strong.
The racism is so strong. One of the interesting things, like, I know that we see some of the racism play out in the way the militiamen are peeing in that one person's locker.
Yeah.
I was surprised we didn't see any pushback from anyone on the Israel.
When he said like, don't be racist?
Yeah, Havelock is kind of like, hey guys, don't be racist. And I don't know, if I was on a ship and I was watching a bunch of the Earther engineers become a militia and wear armbands, I think that I would have a response to that. And like the armbands never got. I think it was interesting to me that we never saw the armbands or any of the accoutrement of the militia be commented upon by other. And I guess it's because we never really meet other people on the ship.
Yeah.
And there wasn't room for it. But it did feel like there was room for us to go a little bit deeper into the Israel's politics that we never did.
I agree, because even Murtry is like, oh, I'm leaving you here and you have to deal with the restless scientists who really want to get to the ground. And that was never...
Yeah, they did not feel very restless.
No, there was no part of this book that like focused on that, which is fine. But I do think that like there was definitely room to investigate those dynamics a little bit more. And I wish that Havelock had he is the one person who's like, yeah, they're peeing in my locker and it's because I'm a belter, and he's like, no, it's not. I wish there was a little bit more of that from like different people. Like I wish there were more perspectives, I guess.
Well, and he ends up writing a rather like firm pushback, being like, hey guys, like cut this shit out. And we never actually see any follow-up from that.
Yeah.
Like, that letter's never followed up on. And I think that these are all examples of great scenes, right? Havelock, the hilarity of Havelock going down the corridors and just being like, hey, God damn it, I know we're fighting and you have live rounds and I have beanbags, but your knee's out.
Your knee's out.
And he shoots the guy in the knee. Like, that scene's great. The letter that Havelock writes, where he makes the decision to push back on his own people. Mm-hmm. Like, I liked the idea of that scene. Mm-hmm. What's missing so much for me in this book is the follow-up and the tether of what that does as it kind of expands out into the people who receive that information. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of the information going out, and we don't have a lot of perspective on the characters who receive that information.
Yeah.
And now part of the reason why I don't think there's more of that is that the Belter-Earther divide on the planet is already stretched a little bit thin, in my opinion.
Sure. And
more of it in space might have not worked. But I honestly think you could have moved some of the tension from the planet up to the ship just to diversify so that it didn't feel as stretched thin on the planet.
Yeah, especially like because the Israel becomes such an important part in the end, mm-hmm. where he's like, guys, like, why are we just needlessly killing people now? We're all going to die and we're trying to like solve this problem.
Yeah.
But they're so gung-ho on like doing something, I guess. Yeah, it feels like had a little more development there in the story. It was a little unsatisfying. I think because the middle bit was just didn't feel. It didn't really feel like this series. It didn't really feel like the writing that I was used to with the complex characters. I will say though, I really do like Baja. I loved having like his perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I much prefer him to the show's version of that storyline. I really resonated with him far more, and maybe part of that is literally being in his head, and it's well, and I think I think it's better.
I think the book starting, I really appreciated that the book started with the perspective of Baja blowing up the ship. And the reason why...
That's why you said the beginning part was so strong. I think that really sets it up well.
Well, and we talk a lot about the perspectives from which authors write their books when we talk about things on the show. Mm-hmm. I've been pretty notoriously critical of Brandon Sanderson for becoming sort of a author whose books have mainly been about very privileged people post Mistborn, right? And how he keeps writing about these lords and ladies whose troubles are that, well, it's not the right time to end slavery. And I'm like, oh, like, I don't know that, like, this is the character that I want to follow, right? And I think that The Expanse, one of the reasons why this show, I think, I think the book is better than the show. And one of the reasons for that is I think that the book does a better job of making the Illusians' perspective a bigger part of the narrative.
Yeah.
Whereas the show, because the show is so deeply Holden versus Murtry, in a way that also exists in the book, but Baja's perspective is far more felt in the book than in the show.
Yeah.
And...
Well, because it's his wife. It's not even the same character. Like, it's very...
Yeah, and so I think that the way in which the Illusians' perspective is... I think far more of a main character in the show than in the book is just... I think it's stronger in this version because we actually start with the Illusians. We don't start with Murtry. Mm-hmm. Whereas the show starts with Murtry. Murtry's the first perspective we get, right? The ship coming down is the first perspective we get. And so our perspective on the show is Earthers watching Earthers get taken out by terrorists.
Oh, yeah,
and
interesting.
the book's version of it is these refugees trying to protect themselves from a company that looks very scary and looks like it's going to take everything from them.
Yeah.
And just by starting with that perspective and starting with the perspective of understanding who blew up the ship and why it happened and that they regretted and did not. And the final moments, the first thing we know about the ship blowing up is that the person who did it did not want it to happen.
Yes. Whereas that's not revealed till I literally just watched this. I think it's episode 6. Yeah.
Which means in the show, the Illusians look far more like terrorists than they do in the book.
Yes.
Where we go like, shit, this was a massive mistake. And we're watching the person grieve throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
Like, he feels so much guilt. Mm-hmm. And it's eating away at his marriage. And we watch the way in which this mistake that this man made, which is awful. And I don't necessarily know how I feel about it. There being kind of no consequences for him. But he'll eat himself alive throughout his life.
He lost his kid. Like, I do love that it ties into earlier.
That doesn't justify killing 12 people, though.
No.
Like,
but
you know what I mean? Like, he killed 12 people with his...
Sure, but I think even Holden is like, I don't really know why I let him go. Yeah. And I think it's because sometimes you just know that person has or is going to already punish themselves enough. Like, the guilt that is there is Holden is like, what can I do other than like punish his family for what he did? Because it's them who would probably suffer the most from it.
Yeah, and like Coop dies, and so there are consequences on both sides, but
for sure, yeah.
I just think that the book's framing from that first chapter of these people are refugees, these people are desperate. We are going to start with understanding them, and then we're going to bring in the corporation.
Yeah.
Is so much stronger to me than the show.
Yeah.
Which is like, these people were attacked by terrorists. They are living among terrorists.
Yeah.
and Murtry is unhinged because he got blown up.
Yeah.
Which is just, it just is a less... Murtry not being in the initial explosion as well in the book version is, in my opinion, a much stronger version of the character.
Also, I think that the extended timeline of the book makes a big difference as well. Because in the show, it feels like it's like next day that like Holden shows up. Whereas I think in the book, it's like 8 months or something along those lines. Like it is so much more time for the corporation and the refugees to create these really complicated bonds and friendships, kind of, but they're like because we have Okoye's perspective, right, of like almost forgetting that people died and were blown up because she's there for so long, and they take care of one another. And seeing the refugees as seeing their humanity far more. I think that extended timeline really makes the relationships between the two groups more interesting, and it makes what Murtry does also more interesting, because I think in the show it's like, well, he's just mad he got blown up yesterday. Right, whereas this is like, nah, this dude's fucked in the head. Like it's very different.
And James Ross says, so a bunch of the standoff stuff between Holden and Murtry was based on Westerns. Oh, absolutely. Which are slow burn of tension till a duel at the end, because this was the new lawless frontier. I do understand that from the perspective of wanting to write a Western.
I've never read a Western, and I think there's a reason why.
In my experience, people in Westerns don't typically, like, eat in the same commissary every day after shooting each other. And I think that that's kind of the weird tension of this book and the show. It's the thing that I think they both struggle with, is that these Holden and Murtry end up living, like, next door to each other and keep killing each other. Like, it's not... The tension isn't like, you did something to me and I'm mad about it and something's gonna happen. The tension... The tension in this keeps getting released with no consequences. Murtry's actions never get pulled back by RCE, even though they're there for months and RCE can communicate. Like, it's not like they're not hearing from home base. And...
Yeah, but he is very careful about making sure there's, like, proper legal justification for things. So,
His case is so weak. His case is so incredibly weak. That man threatened me with so many witnesses with an offhand comment, so I shot him with that many witnesses, is insane. It's just insane.
But like he says, they're 1.5 years away. He's like, what are they going to do about it?
You shot a refugee for making a snide comment. That's insane. Especially because... And it's part of the reason why these characters don't feel smart, and it's frustrating that they don't feel smart, because in the first 3 books they feel so smart. Is the OPA, which is going to side with the Belters, who are refugees on the ground, owns the pathway that all of the money RCE wants to pull out of these planets goes through, and you put on video you shooting a guy for a snide comment.
I don't think they own it.
They absolutely do. They control Medina Station. They control the rings.
Yeah, no, they do. They have a measure of control over it, but I don't think that means that they own it.
I totally get that. Totally understand that. RCE needs that video not to exist, because the OPA owns Medina Station. It's such basic politics 101. It's so simple. It could not be simpler. And from that moment on, Murtry should have been relieved of duty by RCE. Because the political fallout back home of them being like, hey, we want to pull the lithium through. And the OPA being like, nah, your people are shooting people. You're shooting refugees. It could not be simpler. The Murtry shooting up the building, legally, no problem. That happens at night. No one's watching it. It's not on video. There aren't a bunch of children in the room. RCE should have seen the video of Murtry shooting that guy and immediately been like, you have to get off the planet. You just have to get off the planet. That video that is going to be on all of the feeds is going to... RCE needed to act like a corporation in this book, and it doesn't. RCE lets Mercury continue to do random shit.
It's true. RCE doesn't actually have a presence in terms of the company.
Any corporation in this situation where someone does something that publicly would punish them just to keep things chill with the people on Medina Station. And it's the most obvious move, and it never happens because the book needs to happen. And it is the problem of this isn't actually a Western. This book wants to be a Western book. It wants to have the vibe of a Western in the new frontier. But there is a legal challenge happening. Like, there is a legal debate going on. And the head of security, who is claiming he is in charge, just shot someone in the face in front of kids on video. Mm-hmm. Right? That is so much more detrimental to the legal challenge, because the legal challenge doesn't matter if the OPA doesn't recognize the court it happens in. If they just are like, hey, we will let everyone but RCE through because your people shoot people in the head on video. That is just inherently, politically, the easiest thing to do is be like, hey, we're pulling Mercury out. Yeah. We are sending someone else down because Mercury is, even if RCE doesn't have a problem with what Mercury did, RCE should have enacted something in that after that. They should have just done something to look like they were enacting some kind of like the company is calming the situation down. But because RCE never does anything to Mercury, RCE never pushes back on Mercury, RCE looks like they are this crazy corporation that you cannot trust on the ground anywhere. And they're going to lose trillions of dollars because of it. And it's why, like, the actions post Coop getting shot in the middle of broad daylight in front of children in town square feels off. The book just kind of feels like something should happen, and it just doesn't. Right. And so when the flood comes, it finally feels like something that should be happening happens in the book. And that sort of the tension of like, why isn't anything happening goes away. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the book feels stronger because everyone is much more desperate, and Mercury makes more sense as a character in the situation where things are desperate. Right. But in that, there's just months where RCE should be putting out statements and doing something to make it seem like they're the reasonable ones, and they just don't. The company doesn't do anything except let Mercury kind of continue to shoot people.
I wonder if off page, and this is, this doesn't really matter to that because it's off page, and so it's like, well, the book doesn't say it, so whatever. But I wonder if maybe the thinking of it was that, like, Mercury has the place bugged, obviously. Yeah. I wonder if he has evidence that Coop is, like, planning to fuck shit up, or had, like, helped blow things up, and is able to, like, give that to the company as, like, this is legal evidence, this is why I killed this person, I have, like, they confessed to XYZ.
100%. That, they do, he does know that. Yeah. That doesn't matter. We're not again, the reason why that doesn't matter is because we're not talking about whether Mercury is actually in the right to do what he does. Right?
The legal right, yeah.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the perception of the three governments that are trying to control who's going through this very narrow highway and who is going to make money off of it. If whether or not RCE thinks Mercury had the legal right to shoot Coop matters so much less than whether the OPA is upset that there is a video of a belter being shot in the face in public for a very small infraction. What you can prove in court often is far less important.
I mean, it is an Earth company, right? Like,
I know, but the Belters already hate Earth. I genuinely think it's why this book feels like it doesn't work for a section. Is because what is so good in the first three books, what is so good is that so many characters are constantly aware of the political tensions between Earth, the Belt, and the Mars. Mm-hmm. Disappears at the moment when it should be at its strongest. Right? RCE should condemn Mercury's actions not because they're legally wrong or because they are actually wrong, not because they're morally wrong, but because the fact that he did it in broad daylight in front of children is going to play so poorly on the video feeds back home. It has nothing to do with what he is legally allowed to do. It is this corporation only cares about getting money off of this planet, and Mercury is hurting their relationship with the organization they have to work with to make that happen. Corporations throw people under the bus all the time for money. And RCE never throws Mercury under the bus. They ride with him so hard, even though he fucks them so hard. This whole book, he fucks their profits to the nth degree, the entirety of it. The only reason RCE ends up making money at the end of this is if they manage to keep a contract on this planet, which they probably don't, and because Holden and Okoye shut the fucking thing down. So that they can actually come back. But Mercury was going to stop that to be like, no. That machine that stops us from being able to use our spaceships, that machine
doesn't belong to us.
Like, what is he fucking thinking?
Yeah,
it doesn't make it literally doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, at that point, it's just a power play. It's like the kid is playing with the toy, and suddenly you want that toy because it's like, well, he's got that toy, so I gotta stop him from playing with that toy so I can have that toy.
It is just. It leads to the book having this frustrating feeling of a guy gets shot in the face in town square and everyone just like walks home. Like NPCs in a video game.
Right.
Whereas like that's not how humans behave.
Yeah.
There's nothing that happens in the town square after that. A guy gets shot, he's just laying there, and then people just kind of like walk home. And then the next day they are like, we're gonna fuck this shit up.
Which is why it's like it's so different in the show that maybe they were also like, man, this doesn't really work.
I 100% think in the writer's room they were like, we can't have Mercury shoot a guy in broad daylight in front of everyone,
right? And
then the hundreds of people on the ground accept anything he says ever again.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Yeah.
Erudite David says, even in the capitalist hellscape we live in, the level of nepotism, influence, blackmail he would need to get away with is near inconceivable. I agree. And it's why the book just kind of stalls out.
Yeah.
It just does.
Because he's like, well, everyone's a year and a half away, so it's fine.
The other reason why I think that this book makes the characters not feel smart, and I'm really curious if you agree with me on this. As soon as they interact with something from the protomolecule, everyone should be freaking out 90% more than they are.
Right.
Like, they find the first machine, it's alive, Wei shoots it in one of the
dumbest things. Yeah.
Wei is actually an idiot.
Yeah. I don't
Holden
know
is like, hey, these things are all connected, and I watched one get blown up, and then a fleet of them ripped apart Simu Liu.
Yeah, and she's like, all right, like, boom, motherfucker. I'm like, okay, that seems like a terrible idea.
Eros is the most televised thing in these people's lives.
Probably, yeah.
Everyone has seen the video footage of it.
They made music.
They listened to music of people dying.
Yeah.
And then Holden is the only person after that point. Well, actually, Amos reacts appropriately because he doesn't give a fuck. But that's how he's done it before.
Yeah.
Holden is the only person who starts to freak out, and it drove me a little bit crazy.
Yeah. These people are treating the protomolecule like a escaped zoo animal, kind of, that they can understand. And its capabilities they are aware of. And it's like, no, that's not even close to what the situation is you are dealing with. Yeah, I do agree. I really hated that scene because I was like, oh, so she's a fucking moron. Like...
Well, but then Holden is like, hey, we all have to leave as fast as possible. And there's no moment in the second half of the book where someone turns home and is like, hey, you were right, we should have left. When the moon starts shooting ships out of the sky.
Wait, what?
The moon starts shooting ships out of the sky.
What ship does it shoot?
The relief shuttle. When they try and send supplies down.
Yeah.
And Havelock regretfully sends down the meds for Holden. Uh-huh. And the moon blasts it out of the sky. You don't remember this?
I only remember the, fusion being turned off. Shoots down the supply shuttle. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The moon... Oh, yeah. That happens in the book.
Yeah. And people are like, damn, that sucks. I guess we'll stay.
Well, no, they can't leave.
Well, yeah, now they can't. But, yeah, like you said, no one was like, oh, man, we fucked up.
If Holden, I don't know, man. I think that if I were to, run into, the doctor, if I was at the mall, right? And the doctor on the cruise ship with the hantavirus was looking around and being like, oh shit, it's about to go down, I would be, and he's like, we need to leave right now, I would leave.
Sure.
Like, if the most knowledgeable person in the world, the only person who's experienced the protomolecule multiple times and lived, was like, we need to get out, I think I would just be like, you're okay. Probably right.
Yeah.
But everyone in town is like, what could possibly go wrong? And I'm like, what do you mean?
What couldn't go wrong?
Every time humanity has interacted with this, millions of people have died.
Yeah. Well, and that's not even, like, that doesn't even account for the, like, terrestrial planet dangers. Like, they all start going blind, you know? Like, there are things on this planet that aren't even protomolecule related that, like, nobody has an answer to. And obviously, if they'd been able to ship out the lithium and they had, you know, relief and support in space and able to bring them supplies, maybe those things wouldn't be such a problem. But they're still
it wouldn't matter.
3 years from leaving and getting back.
It wouldn't matter at all. If Okoye and RCE weren't there, they would have all died. Because even if this
flood,
they would have all gone blind.
Oh well,
they would have all gone blind, and
death.
they would have, on a planet where brain slugs come up out of the ground when it rains and murder you.
No,
yeah, it is.
Well, okay, to be fair, the slugs have not been seen by these people for how long have they been there? A year, and it's this like massive tsunami, flood, storm, like hellscape, like Noah's Ark.
Oh, sure, and like who
who
knows when they would have come out, right? I'm not trying to be ableist here. I do think that a population of all blind people could find a way to survive in a safe environment. I don't know that they live in a safe environment. If Okoye hadn't been there,
I don't know about
that the civilization would have been dead by the time
and
a
I don't
shuttle
know
showed
about
up.
Forever, but what I'm saying is maybe they could have made it 3 years, you know, for someone to leave and come back. Maybe.
I mean,
maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm saying their whole situation is fucked, and no one really does feel like they are thinking clearly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that I can believe because of circumstances, but this book I think pushed it a little too far sometimes for me. I did want to touch on Sean Lodging's comment. One aspect I liked more about the show is Holden sent to investigate the protomolecule and not serve as a peacekeeper. Holden is not the right person for this. I think what actually makes this book interesting, and the reason this book exists in the way it does, is because the epilogue is like, oh no, Holden was supposed to this was not supposed to go the way that it went. Like, they sent Holden.
Oh, the epilogue is the best chapter in the whole book.
Yeah, they sent like in the show they sent Holden because of the protomolecule, and that's fine. But I actually I do think it's more interesting that Avasarala sends Holden because she's trying to save Mars.
Well, and the reason why the Western standoff works better in the show a little bit, because Holden has no authority.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The book tells us that Holden has authority in the book.
Mm-hmm.
He's sent by everyone. Like, everyone agrees to send him with some authority. And then people just kind of pretend that once he lands there, he doesn't have that authority.
Mm-hmm.
And Murtry, the whole book, Murtry is like, I mean, what, even if you get me back to Earth, what are they going to charge me for? And I'm like, you defied the word of the authority that the government that you're going back to sent.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you're going down. Even if they have to lie about why you're going down, in order to save face on the person they put in charge. Like, the government said that he's in charge, and you denied him. Of course the government is going to throw you away, just to make a point.
Well, Embers actually makes an interesting point about maybe Murtry stays in power, like RCE doesn't remove him, because Avasarala wants things to go poorly.
If that was established in the book, I would not mind the explanation.
Yeah, I would be like, that makes sense.
It's still... Avasarala, I don't think, has control to make RCE burn its bridges with the Belter organization, though, which is what happens. Like, RCE is so fucked with the Belt forever after this. Maybe a little bit not because of Havelock and Merkel at the end. Like, maybe that does enough to salvage some kind of relationship there. But if it weren't for that, like... Because the videos are gonna get out. Like, Murtry being like, oh no, we're all gonna die so that RCE doesn't lose claim on this planet. If that if that soundbite ever makes it out, if that ever gets sent back to fucking Earth, RCE loses their claim on the planet immediately.
Yeah.
No one is gonna let, like, the way they're gonna have to back channel all of their lithium through other parties, the money they're gonna lose, it just, yeah. It's tough because once you get to the blindness and the brain slugs and the horror of that, the book gets really good. Like, from the flood to the end, I think the book gets really solid.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love the fact that Okoye is, like, running at 50% energy until she gets a dick appointment, and then she's, like, full-on scientist from there to the end.
Yeah.
It is so funny to me that this woman does not get laid for 2 years and becomes, like, a shell of herself and can only think of this celebrity man. She becomes a full-on, like, fan fiction stan. Yeah. And she's like, I just, like, I'm not that good at scientist. I just want to fuck Holden. And then her friend is like, fuck me. And she fucks him and she's like, okay, I'm great. She becomes super scientist because she got dick one time.
I know.
It is the power of dick, y'all.
That was very funny.
The power of dick in the Expanse universe is strong.
It's very strong.
If that guy had fucked his cousin, maybe he wouldn't have killed himself trying to go through the ring.
Maybe. That is actually possible. I would buy it. Yeah, that's so interesting. I'm glad it's not really a thing that is present in the show. I think the show would have really struggled with that because it's easier. It is
in the show a little bit. It's just the show doesn't hit it as hard because.
No, it's not in the show.
I mean, she does have sort of a weird relationship with Holden. And
no, she's way more confrontational with Holden. She's like, you're hiding things. What are you doing? Did you activate all these things? You were there when the lightning was
there. He did.
Yeah.
The show making all of this Holden's fault is very funny to me. Whereas, like, in the book, it is Way's fault.
Oh, but from shooting the thing?
Yeah, shooting the thing causes the system to turn on defense because... Yeah, like, the book is like, Way intentionally shoots something, and so I think it makes more sense in the book, genuinely. Mm-hmm. Way shooting something and being aggressive towards the protomolecule, leading to all of this bad stuff happening because defenses turn on because the protomolecule is shot, makes more sense to me personally than Holden closes a panel, and so the entire planet loses its fucking mind.
Well, and I was going to ask, because I feel like, obviously, the show makes it very explicit that Holden shows up and the protomolecule does a bunch of crazy-ass shit.
Yeah.
But in the book, I was like, the only instigator is, yes, Holden does arrive, and there is a piece of protomolecule on the ship, and obviously, like, Miller is there. Mm-hmm. But is it Holden's fault? Like, is it Holden that activates these things? Because, you like you said, like... Way shoots the thing, and that clearly, and things clearly happen after that fact, and so is that the trigger, or is it a combination of things? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Holden's there for a while.
It's less clear to me, in a way that I do find actually more interesting.
Practically Incarnate says it follows how it happened in the slow zone. Yeah. Blue says it's Miller turning stuff on. But here's the thing. Miller turns stuff on in the slow zone as well, and the system doesn't get aggressive. The defense stuff doesn't turn on until attack happens, right? I don't think that Miller would have turned on the defenses not knowing what they are. The creature turns on, but the creature isn't a threat until it's shot. Yes. It's not doing anything.
Yes,
right?
I don't think that they were in any danger, especially because I don't think Miller would have, like, done that before Way shoots it. Yeah.
Has the protomolecule... Okay. This gets back to when I was watching the show. The show's version of the protomolecule is very confusing, but what I think both the show and books get right is that the protomolecule in our universe that comes from not Ganymede, from Phoebe Station. That protomolecule is infecting us because it has no programming, and it is trying to figure out what its programming is going to be. Mm-hmm. The protomolecule in the slow zone already knows what its programming is, and so it isn't aggressive. It's not trying to infect the humans because it's already doing the thing that it was pre-programmed to do.
They say it's a giant station.
Yeah.
It's not yet.
It's a connection.
Yeah.
The programming on Illis is a factory. It's meant to make power, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not inherently aggressive. When the things turn on that planet because Miller starts turning them on, I don't think they would have attacked anyone.
No, like, I don't think the explosion would have happened.
I think they would have been very curious about the humans, right? But then Wei shoots one of them. And then all of a sudden the programming is like, oh shit, we got to turn the defenses on.
Yeah.
The reactor in the Southern Ocean tries to turn the defenses on. It fails, it blows up. Like, Wei causes all of the bad stuff in this book to happen. They don't kind of acknowledge it, but that is what happens.
Yeah.
Because the idea that the planet would just turn on defenses for no reason doesn't track with how we've seen We've watched the protomolecule do things before. And Wei shoots the thing and therefore the defenses turns on is so similar to everything we've seen the protomolecule do before. Mm-hmm. And Wei shoots the thing and that is irrelevant to the fact that the defenses turn on is something we've never seen happen before. Right? And so I am far more inclined to believe that it is the writers doing... The protomolecule acts a certain way. We've seen it happen before. It's going to continue to do that thing. It just makes too much sense for me to try and read another answer out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth says the explosion happens because the machine has been off for 1 billion years, which, yes, is the fridge metaphor.
Oh, 100%.
Right, but that's not intentional, but things happen. But, there are still aggressions because of... because Wei shot that thing.
Yeah, and I think there's also a difference between Miller turning switches on and off one at a time to see what turns on, and the entire reactor boots to full and blows up because the defenses are trying to come online because Wei shoots something.
Yeah.
Like, you can turn on a lot of light switches at a nuclear reactor without turning on the nuclear reactor.
Sure.
But if you tell the nuclear submarine that there's an attack, the nuclear submarine everything turns on. You know what I mean? And I think that, yeah, Wei gets all these people killed.
Probably.
And she dies and does have to face consequences of it, because she is...
Well, she's dead, so that's a consequence in itself.
Yeah. Look, I think the book is better than the show in a lot of ways. I think the one way in which the show is better, and the thing the book... I don't know how you would do it in a book to make it really work, is the death slugs. And it's not that they don't work in the book. It is just really hard, in my opinion, to, like, hit on the horror of, being blind and having this slug that's encroaching upon you. Because we always see it from the perspective of, like, Holden saving someone.
Yeah.
There is the, like, thought horror of, like, oh my god, someone could die at any moment. But goddamn, the show does such a good job of having moments where, like, you see someone near a slug.
Yeah.
And it is something that I think when they made the book into, like, a visual, they really crushed.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Was the sort of watching the way in which people interact with... Because even in the book, the slugs sort of immediately became less scary because you can't see how close they are.
You have to, like, write it in.
Yeah, and so, like, we always hear about the slugs from their perspective being, like, Holden being like, oh no, there's one there. Ah.
Yeah, it was more of a horror element in the show, and more of a, like, just I think this planet is fucking dangerous element for the book, and they're utilized differently in it. I think the show does a great job of making that terrifying. I also think that the show did a great job of the visualization of the structures on the planet.
Yeah.
The special effects, all that jazz. I think it was really well done. The other thing that I actually do like that the show did was try and bring Naomi to the planet.
Yeah.
I think that added a lot of, like, she doesn't do much during this book until she kind of gets captured, right? She's got her idea, goes to the ship, gets captured, and then...
Well, she's not a POV character, so...
No, but, you know, she converses with Havelock, and there is a relationship there, and that does matter. I really liked that they made her more a part of the story by trying to bring her to the planet. It's like...
Arzu's like, wait, the book doesn't do that? No.
Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, Arzu.
Yeah, not at all.
Surprise! No, it's not even a question. It doesn't even come up. Her and Alex stay on the ship, like, the entire time. The Rocinante does not come into atmosphere at all.
That's not true.
Well, not...
At the end, it does.
Like, the end...
No, and at the beginning, yeah, it lands and takes off before Naomi has a problem.
Oh, I thought they took a shuttle.
No, it lands. And then at the end of the book, it comes down, and Naomi's on the ground at the end of the book. And she's like, let's get up out of here before my knees give out. Naomi's on the ground for like a day at the end of the book, helping them rebuild.
Is it that long?
I mean, she like lands at 10 a.m. and they leave at like 5. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, they land the Rocinante, I think, twice in the book. In a special suit, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, I feel like that, yeah, there is.
Yeah, she's in like an Og suit.
Yeah, no, Arzu, I do think that that is a part of the, that is something that the show did very well to keep her as a main character and keep her involved in storylines more than she is in the book. I do think that the show also started to seed a lot more of her story moving forward. Obviously, like Marco Inaros is not in this book at all. There is no
because you don't
cutting
have
away
Ashford.
Yes, being a pirate hunter or whatever it is. That whole storyline is not in this book at all.
I will say this, did not miss all the Bobby stuff though.
Yeah.
The Bobby the Bobby like being forced to work for the drug guy in on Mars is just not. I understand that like we're trying to explain how Marco Inaros gets the laser sights to send the rocks for later.
Well,
but God man, that plot line to me is just.
I think it's trying to do what the epilogue did.
Oh no, 100%. I totally agree with. I totally get it.
Yeah. You just didn't like.
All of those scenes in the show.
I know, and I love Bobby as well. I more screen time for Bobby to me is a good thing. I really like that character and that actress a lot. But yeah, I agree. It's not the strongest part of the show for sure.
The scene in the show where she's like, "You're not going to take any weapons, are you?" And I'm like, Bobby, either open the door or don't. But don't like.
No, I would do that exact same. Honestly,
I'm not letting them into the military. Like, I don't know. I think that I don't know.
I know you never liked
find those scenes like interminable.
I always liked it more than you did. So we don't see eye to eye on that one.
And it's so fair.
Yeah.
But I honestly like not much of season 4 really works for me. Even the Naomi thing about her taking the drugs and coming down in the show is so strange to me, just because they add this scene at the beginning of the season where
she won't come to Earth.
Where she won't go down to Earth. And they go to Earth so that Holden can like talk to his mom. And then that's where Miller shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, bud, I need you to get me to Illis. But like, if you're gonna have her come down the well immediately after, it's like
they
literally...
had that scene to set up how difficult it is.
100%. No, I totally get that. But he's like, yeah, she would never do that. And then literally by the end of the episode, she's taking drugs to go down the gravity well.
He doesn't say she would never do that. He says this is not her home. I don't think she has any desire to go to Earth. I think that there's too much negativity there. I think that is so complicated, but it's a brand new planet, and I do think that does hit differently. Especially because Belters are the first ones to have landed there, you know? That's kind of a big deal.
I don't disagree with you at all. I just think the structure of all of that happening in an episode is what feels weird about it.
Sure.
Of like, because the scene between Holden and his mom is so superfluous and unnecessary, and like that scene just doesn't really, it's nice.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it is nice in the show to have Holden and Avasarala in a room the next scene, like in the UN. But the scene with Holden doesn't need to be on Earth at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
They just, and it's an incredible amount of like travel for them to make, because Avasarala needs to have a phone call with Holden. Like, sure. Avasarala and Holden have she pulls him further from the ring to tell him that he needs to go through the ring in a way that just feels deeply unnecessary.
Well, there is also the big difference between the two of Holden wanting to go through the ring versus not wanting to go through the ring.
absolutely. If I was Avasarala and I was like, hey, I need this guy who is weeks away from the ring. I need him to fly a month to Earth so that he can have a 5-minute conversation with me so that he can get back on his ship, fly a month to the place where he is.
Maybe they were already there.
No, he tells his mom that he goes home.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying.
It is the problem with the show not wanting to live in the world the books do, where we respect how far things are in space. And
again, the amount of time that people are places in between events.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like in the practical world of The Expanse, which is what I love so much about the books, Avasarala would never ask Holden to fly a month towards her so that he could fly a month away from her, so that he could then head in the direction she needs him to go. She would just call him on a tight beam and be like, hey, I need you to... don't come to Earth. That's so far out of your way. It would be like being like, hey, I know you're in London. I need you to come to New York so I can tell you to go to Dubai. And it's like, well, no, I just tell me that and I'll go to Dubai from London. It's 9 hours closer.
Sure. Yeah. It is interesting. It's something that I think is obviously easier to do in a book
100%,
with time and distance. And I think that a lot of shows do struggle with that, especially when adapting things.
I just wish the show had found a way to kind of talk about how long it was going to take for them to get there. Because there's something... Before Murtry kind of loses it, and I think the book gets a little bit less interesting, the most interesting part of the Belters and the RCE is before Murtry lands and before Holden arrives. And it is in the 3 months of what do we do about these tensions. I genuinely think it's the best part of the the non-protomolecule Illis storyline in the book is that 3-month period where they're all trying to be on their best behavior because none of them knows how Holden is going to change the situation. And so they just end up in it's this deep discomfort that shatters immediately when Holden shows up, because Holden and Amos kind of expedite things happening, and everyone is in the same place, so no one has to wait anymore. Things can kind of start to happen because everyone's on the planet. But there's just that I think even better than the Death Slug tension is the tension of Holden is on his way, and how do all of these people interact with each other, because none of them really know what that means until he gets there. Well, and I think it's why I think the beginning of the book is so strong and the end is so strong. Yeah. The beginning of the book is so strong because that tension to me felt so real.
Well, and they treat Holden far differently when he arrives.
Yeah.
In the book versus the show, right? In the show, everyone's just yelling at everyone. And everyone's very upset. Whereas, there is a certain amount of politicking that's done in the book. With Chiwiwi and wanting to do right by her little group of people that's there, right? Yeah. She wants their settlement to be viable. Yeah, they got lucky with the fucking lithium?
Yeah.
But, they got lucky, and she is trying to use that and appeal to Holden in a way that's not just I'm yelling at you that we deserve this and you have to believe me.
Yeah.
A lot of her character in the show is kind of just angry. I think she gets a really great moment when the planet fucking blows up, right?
Yeah.
And they all get the information. And she's like, okay, you know what? We've done our best. We have to now make a decision. I think she does get a moment of that in the show, but I think that overall, the character doesn't get what the book does so well, which is that tiptoeing, politicking, kind of sussing people out. None of these people have ever met Holden. They only know him from his fame, from seeing him on TV and stuff. Them trying to figure him out and how to appeal to him, what his motives are, is interesting and I think tough to do in a show. But I do think there are several reasons why the book just works better.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do. I understand what you're saying. I just agree.
Yeah. It's been an interesting ride. Like, we actually talked earlier. We're like, I don't know how long book club is going to be today, just because, like, we liked it. It was fine. These are the differences. And that's kind of it. Like, I don't have, like, I don't feel like I took a lot out of this book other than the epilogue. Because clearly the epilogue is like, okay, now what happens to Mars? And that's what's really interesting moving forward.
I love,
well, I guess, and also the fucking God's Eye. Like, that is a, like, what the fuck, we'll get to that later kind of thing.
Did you get to the end of the season?
When I'm watching it? No.
Because I don't remember. I thought Holden. I can't remember if Holden went through the God's Eye in the show or if Okoye did.
No, it's Okoye.
In the show as well?
I'm 99% positive. I
can't remember how that plays out.
That it is Okoye, because now Holden's not the only person to have, like, interacted with this technology.
Right.
I think chat will correct me, I'm sure. But yeah, no, I'm positive that it is Okoye, because she's helping Miller while Holden does the fucking Western standoff with Murtry. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few things before I want to talk about the epilogue for a minute, but before we get to that, I think that part of the reason why this book is, I don't have 3 hours of book club in me today, guys. And it's not that I'm tired. It's that this book doesn't do what the other Expanse books do, which is have wildly different events happen in different places, right? This is kind of the first book in the series where it really is just like this. Like, this book kind of feels like, what if you stretched out the Eros incident, them being on Eros with the Corpos, and made that the whole book. Okay. And these books have typically been like, I guess book 3, Inside the Ring, kind of was also mostly just like what happened inside the ring. Yeah. So maybe that's not totally true, but
again, it was about the personal relationships and politicking and how everybody, like, navigated those in a way that felt far more intelligent and complex than it does in this book.
Well, and this book just in some ways to me felt a little bit like if you just took the plot of what happened on Eros and stretched it out into a novel.
Sure.
And I think that what works about Eros is that it feels very contained and it happens fairly quickly, and we kind of get to see more of the aftermath of what it does to our crew.
Okay.
Whereas this, I don't think we get much of the aftermath of this, right? We don't get much of the how does this change them? We get a lot of them being upset on the planet, and I don't know how I would change that. Like, I don't know. And obviously the book is the book, and there's 5 more after this. Like, I'm not worried about the Expanse. There's going to be a video game coming out soon that's I'm hoping is going to be very successful because I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, we're going to have to play that.
But I do think that in some ways, a part of it is that the Holden Murtry stuff is kind of the same to me as it was in the show. It works enough. It just doesn't work for me. That's fine.
Yeah, sure. I mean? And I do think that parts of it worked better for me than it did for you, but it is still not my favorite.
Yeah. Deanna DeWall says, I love the Elvie Miller parts. I really miss that in the show. That is interesting too, right? Miller being a robot. I do miss the robot with the crab claws.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I love the idea that the robot, like, changes shape. I love that when they're walking on the bridge undulates because it's, like, somewhat alive in its own, like, non-sapient way.
Miller's like, get on my back, and Holden is like, the fuck? He's like, here's a seat. Yeah, I made you a seat. Like, yeah.
It was interesting. I was really expecting everyone to go through the tunnel system. I do like that in the book it's just a train and not the, like, warp portals from Halo.
Oh, yeah. I will say, reading, look, I do think that a lot of the characters behave in a way that is not particularly intelligent. But sometimes reading Okoye's stuff, I was like, like how she finds Holden, I was like, yeah, if you say so, if you say that happens, yes, absolutely. Like,
yeah.
I was like, my brain is not, nah. I can't.
Yeah.
And I think I read that chapter twice.
The way in which I thought she was a biologist. The way she does math in that moment felt truly, like, beyond me on every possible level.
Look.
I'm not going to say it was full on end of, what's Brandon Sanderson's first book? Elantris? Oh. It wasn't like full on end of Elantris math, but it felt like near end of Elantris math.
I'm sure it makes sense to not us. Right?
I mean, I don't know. Being able to turn the, like, response time of...
Rob Ross.
Of a GPS locator to get 2 GPS locations to then be able to triangulate with only 2 sources of information is nuts.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know enough to know that it's nuts.
No, I agree with you. I listened to that twice. I fully listened to it twice and went, nah.
Yeah, sure.
My degree in musical theater is not going to get me there, bro.
No, definitely not.
I have a liberal arts degree. Chapter went...
This ain't happening.
Look, y'all, I might try and write a book. I am trying to write a book. I'm trying, but I promise you I will never write anything like The Expanse, because fucking...
Math.
Erudite says, would you say it's better or worse than hacking in TV shows?
Oh, no.
Hacking, the difference is that I understand how hacking works, and I understand that TV shows just do it wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know that she's wrong. I just am not smart enough to understand it.
No, yeah, it doesn't seem like this is... No, because you're reading it from her perspective, and you're like, you are saying things that probably absolutely make sense. Whereas in, TV, it's like this, and it's like, well, that's just kind of actions to indicate that a thing is happening.
Oh my god, the fucking NCIS scene where, Tim, oh my god, what are their character names? I used to watch a lot of NCIS. The scene where the 2 of them start typing on the same keyboard together is one of, like, the single greatest scenes.
I have actually seen that.
It is, without a doubt, one of the best things ever put to film. It's so funny. Like, every time that GIF shows up, I watch the entirety of it. I will never not watch that scene if it's put in front of my face, because it is so funny to watch someone typing, and then someone else is like, let me help you. And you're like, how could that possibly make this easier?
Yeah.
Unless, like, the numpad and the rest of it were separate inputs. And maybe if he was only running the numpad, but, like...
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're cracking in. we gotta type... but they type side by side. Like, he's on this half of the keyboard, and she's on this half of the keyboard. It's...
Yeah.
It is... It's a show that, like sometimes seems to take itself seriously.
Help. Yeah.
I just can't. I actually can't. I love it so much. I'm so glad it exists.
Yeah.
And that show's still going.
Good for them.
The craziest part of that whole thing is they're on their, 9th spin-off.
Good for them, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Hacking, no. I didn't mind the biangulation.
No, it's fine. I have no idea how that even begins to work.
I don't know how biangulating works. I understand how you can triangulate something, but I thought that with 2 points of data, you couldn't find a location.
Well, I think that the point of it is how long the data takes to.
Oh, actually, no, you could.
There?
You would have 2 options, right? That's the problem. Is that you would have 2 options, and so you would have to. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I have no idea. Chat. Yeah. That's above my pay grade.
Fourth says, I mean, they probably just wanted to finish filming and fuck off home. But that's not how filming works. They had to set up and light that shot. Like, that was a setup. Like, that was an intentional setup that they built a look for. Crazy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Anyways, that was crazy.
And Bryce says, I thought it was because people were moving so you can use the updated data. No, Murtry and her only have 1 rejection request. So they only have 2 points of data. And those points of data aren't necessarily at the same time. So actually, I don't know that it makes sense.
Dude,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
Murtry and her would have to get the information at the exact same, or without moving. It wouldn't have to be the exact same moment as long as neither party was moving. But she had no reason to believe that Murtry wasn't moving. It's just tough.
Isn't Mercury constantly rejecting RCS calls or something?
No. The rejecting is Holden's terminal. Because it's not on the RCE grid. But because the only reason she is able to hack Mercury's terminal because it's on the RCE grid. And he hasn't turned off permissions from all other RCE people. That's how...
Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
That was
it doesn't
wild.
Matter.
That was wild.
Yeah.
If you say it happened, I believe you.
Matt Infante says, I figure if you're going to space, you need some amount of engineering, rocket science, math proficiency to go with your field.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that you do to go on a mission like the Israel, though. Like, the reason why the Rossi crew all does...
like, the smartest people.
Being smart and knowing how to do things is not the same thing.
Sure.
Right? One of the things about the Expanse that I think is the most unrealistic part of the entire universe of it is the idea that in a world where they have AI computation that does things for them, that human beings would still be able to do this stuff on their own. We've already seen that that's not possible. Like, we are seeing in real time now that we are actively losing skills.
Yeah, we're getting
constantly
stupider.
Well, and not even like just because of AI, right? I was watching a TikTok from a teacher who was saying, like, students today can't write an essay.
Yeah.
Like, they just can't write. They're not capable of writing an essay.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, the most I can assign my students is like 2 paragraphs. And sometimes they won't even do that. And like, when I was in school, I had to handwrite essays. And like, essays, like it would be like, hey, we're going to sit down for 2 hours and you're going to handwrite an essay about the book you read last week.
No, you had to handwrite an essay. I mean, later on I went to a school for kids with learning disabilities where you could type. But for your like finals, you literally went in the room, you all sat down, you opened the piece of paper by themselves, and you had paper to write on.
Yeah.
Like, you had to write your whole short story for English or whatever, your whole essay for whatever the fuck it was, by hand.
The most unrealistic thing about the Expanse is that we're going to keep those skills alive in a world where we all become more and more reliant on computers to just do it for us.
Well, that's an interesting thing, right? Because I think that UBI changes that, and that the people who give a fuck, like really push to try and have purpose and meaning in their lives, right? That's why they have the lottery. That's why they do all these things. Like, I think those people that do actually truly care will fill their time with those things. It would just create a wider divide between people, I think.
But the flip side of that is that I agree with you. I think that you are going to have wildly intelligent people who are going to be so solid in their field.
Yeah.
And they won't have skills outside of that. Because I think that what's going to happen, genuinely what I think will happen with AI is, because I think that a lot of it is going to fail, just because I don't think there's going to be a great financial use case for a lot of it. I think that what it is going to do is going to make it so that people are actually more specialized and less well-rounded. Unless
you're in a place like Mars, where you have to kind of do everything for yourself because everyone is so reliant on one another.
What I mean is that I think that like a biology professor will understand biology to a degree that is only capable because you don't need to learn math, because the computer does the math for you. Right?
Everything's highly specialized.
I think that what will happen is that because we will have to learn fewer variety of things, I think individual humans are going to get... The humans that have jobs and that like are specialized in their field will literally know so much about their own field because computers take away the necessity to know a variety of things.
Well, Okoye actually comments on this in the book about having to do specific calculations without the computer. Right? There's like a moment. Yeah. Oh, there's like a moment. She's like, "Oh man, I got to think back to school and now I have to do this manually." Which I think that I think that they've got it figured out where you kind of have to teach people how to do things and not let the computer do it every time, so that they know how to do it in case of like a crisis, like what they're going through. But yeah, for the most part, anyone that's in a safe situation, they're going to have more time to specialize Excuse me, and sometimes that does mean like that the basics kind of get left behind.
No, 100%. But that's what we already see, right? Like we are worse at math than on like a general level. We are worse at math than our parents' generation because we have calculators.
Sure, yeah.
The amount of math that we have to do by hand is very little. We are worse at English than our parents were. Gen Z is significantly worse at reading than we are.
Philadelphia can't read. They're 54% illiterate.
Adults. Well, not illiterate, but the majority of adults in Philadelphia can't read at an 8th grade reading level. Yes. Like we are already losing these skills because computers take away the need to have a general intelligence.
Yeah.
We have I think that's just going to keep happening. I think human beings have incredible capacity for specificity, and I think that the value that is because computers are as strong as they are and are so inherent to so much, they're going to make people specialize more and more and more in order to try and keep ahead of.
Well, and I'm going to say something that maybe is controversial, but I think that I would have been better at math and had more of an interest in math if I felt like I was learning skills that would be applicable to me in my life. Like me having to learn fucking Pythagorean theorem as an example is like not interesting to me because I have no interest in its applications. But if math class had been more like geared towards things that I would be needing to do in my everyday life, I think that I actually would have done better at it. I think I would have paid more attention to it and it like would have held my attention. I just think, I understand. No, actually, I don't know why the math curriculum is the way that it is. I don't know how we choose to teach certain things when at a certain point, again, it's just for the highly specialized situations.
I mean, I had to learn how to do sinusoidal equations so that I could pass a test so that I could go to college and learn musical theater.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, guys, I'm never gonna use a sinusoidal equation. I don't really think I need to know what SOHCAHTOA is. Genuinely. Yeah. But I do. Could I do it now? Nah.
No idea.
It's been too long.
Yeah. But music is math in a way that like that math would have been so much more interesting to at least me, probably you.
No, music is not math. I'm so sorry. No, this is a thing that people say. Music can be broken down into math.
Yeah.
But music itself is not math.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you can explain music through the language of math, but that does not make the application of music mathematical. There is no part of math that goes into me singing a song. You could explain to me the math of me singing that song, but that does not mean that the like natural way that I sing a riff, my brain is not calculating. You know what I mean? I find people, there is math in music, sure. There's math in everything. Yeah. Because you can break anything down to numbers.
Sure.
Music is so much more than math. Mm-hmm. Because there's no emotion in math, but there's so much emotion in music.
Yeah.
Music is math is the same as cooking is organic chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Baking is math. Cooking is feeling. And I prefer cooking over baking.
I like baking because I get a sweet treat at the end usually, so it's...
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. You can bake music and it can be pretty good, but when you're cooking music, there's no math involved. Emberize baking is not vibes.
No, I really don't recommend baking on vibes.
You try baking at altitude.
Yeah, no, that actually sounds like a terrible idea. Yeah. I don't know.
Cooked music is better than baked music 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When you watch someone who just sits down at a piano and then they just like enter into a flow state and shit comes out of them. Oh boy, there's nothing better in the world.
They could also be baked.
No, it's really hard to play the piano high.
No, but I mean, like, a lot of people write while they're high. You know?
Write high, yes. Play, you want to be sober if you're on the piano.
Yeah, very different, very different. Yeah.
What is that beeping?
I don't know. No idea.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about the other stuff. I do want to talk about the epilogue.
I was gonna say, you start talking about the epilogue. I'm gonna go.
I fucking love the epilogue so much. I think it's so good. I think it is. I'm not saying the rest of the book is bad when I say this. I just think the epilogue is the best chapter in the book. The way in which Avasarala so coldly breaks down what is going on to Mars, and the fact that Mars is essentially dead because Holden was successful at kind of keeping the peace, is so deeply fascinating, because the whole time you can feel her telling Bobby this because she needs Bobby to understand the reality of it in a way that is just so calculated. And it doesn't feel friendly, right? Because she's like, I have to tell you I cannot cushion this. I have to tell you to this plane so that you know the reality of this. And the way watching Bobby process it, like, that whole chapter is so fucking fantastic. I loved it so much. And the last few chapters are all good. I think, like, Holden and Murtry's final conversation is really interesting. Amos's final threat kind of sucks, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. Him being like, when I do beat you, you're not going to be locked up. And Murtry's like, I'm going to ostensibly going to prison forever. All right, cool. Thanks for letting me know. But the epilogue of it being that Bobby has to hear that everything she's fought for and believed in her whole life is coming to an end, and there's nothing she can do about it. And she just takes that in and goes, what do you need me to do?
Yeah. What's
the next mission? I loved it. I thought the epilogue was, like, fucking delicious.
Yeah. I love the moment where obviously I was like, yeah, like, they have all these things, they got phase cannons, and Bobby's like, the phase cannons are, she's like, no, they're not.
No, they're real. No, I, like, I know that they've got them.
Oh, cool.
That line fucks so hard.
I know,
it just fucks so hard.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you gonna say? It's like a.
It's just like not. It's not a moment, but it is such a moment. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I loved it. No, the epilogue was wonderful, and I do think that it is the whole reason that the book exists, and why it all plays out the way that it does, which is fine. But I do think that moment to springboard us into the next phase of things is just more interesting than the actual events of the book.
I mean, the events of the book are interesting, right? Like, the protomolecule planet shutting down their ability to use, like, there's so many banging moments in this book. It is fun at times. I just also find it deeply frustrating at times. And I do kind of wish I could read it without having seen the show first, because I was predisposed to kind of being wary. And I got so excited. I got so excited when Murtry was like, we have to behave in a way that's going to benefit the company the most. And I was like, oh, it's going to be different. And then he gives up on that so fast.
Yeah.
And it just kind of becomes, I don't know. It just goes very slowly. It felt long. This was the first Expanse book to me that felt very long.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. I will agree with that.
Where I was like, oh, wow. Like, God, there's so many chapters left.
Yeah.
And the others, they're all long books, but the others really flew by for me. And I admittedly felt the length of this. Because I was just like, do something about it. Like, well, either side, it just, you guys keep saying you're not escalating, but you are. Everyone knows you are. Like, I think it's annoying to watch people pretend that something isn't happening that you're reading happen.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think that might be I think that might be why it doesn't necessarily work for me, and why someone else might really enjoy it. Because I think that some people might really enjoy watching people pretend something isn't happening as it's happening before your eyes. Mm-hmm. And I personally don't have the filter to deal with that. I can't do that. It's why, like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've burnt a lot of bridges in content creation. I've burnt a lot of bridges in the theater. I am not able to play the game. I don't play the game. I don't bullshit you.
Yeah.
It's why we can't fake reactions.
Yeah.
Or do the thing that some people do where they like only say the positive things and try and like pretend like nothing negative ever happens in anything.
Yeah. That's why I get along really well with autistic people.
I can't play the game.
Yeah.
And so I think that I get very frustrated watching people play a game that I think is incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
And is costing so many people their lives. Like, so many people die because Holden doesn't just deal with it earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Holden doesn't just handle it. And so many people die. And Holden is like, God, that's all on you. And I'm like, well, you kind of let him lead a lot of people to their deaths. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Roden wants to know what we think of the Proto-Miller POV segments.
I don't know. They're great. They're deeply fascinating.
Yeah, they're very flavorful.
I thought by the end of the book I would understand what the 113 times a second meant, but I don't think I do.
No, I think that was just the facts.
I just thought the number was going to be relevant to something.
Oh, sure.
Because they keep being like, it reaches out 113 times a second, 113 times a second. I was like, oh, like something to do with the end of this book is going to have to do with like 113, or I just thought that number was going to be relevant. But like there's over 1,000 holes in the ring stations.
Gotcha.
So it's not that. I was just trying to figure out what 113 was relevant to, and I don't know math well enough to, because it's less than once every millisecond. Or how many milliseconds are in a second? Is it 60 milliseconds in a second?
I'm assuming so, since it's
No, it's
60.
1,000, right?
Wait, why?
Because it's a milli.
Everything else is 60, though. You got 60
nope,
seconds.
It's definitely not. Everything else is 60.
Well, I mean, you have 60 seconds in a minute.
And then 60 minutes in an hour.
Yeah,
and then 12
so then
hours.
Why...
Or 24 hours in a day.
Well, but that's just the Earth's rotation. That's not, like, anything to do with, like, how we break down and quantify, like, seconds and minutes.
Yes, it is. But I think a millisecond is 1,000 seconds. Right?
All right. Well, then maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was 60.
No, it's 1,000.
All right.
It's a millisecond. Because a millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's not broken up by 60.
Right, but the suffix milli literally means 1,000. So you say millisecond, but it means 60, a 60th of a second just doesn't make any sense. That's why seconds and minutes are different words instead of having a prefix. A milliminute would be 1,000th of a minute. Right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. The 60 has to do with sundials? What?
I don't know. Couldn't tell ya.
Wild.
That's too much math for me. But that is the kind of math that I probably would have found much more interesting than fucking whatever the hell. I don't even know what algebra I learned. Like, I can't remember it.
I'm really glad I'm good at simple math. It makes D&D far easier to play.
Fair.
I watch some people really struggle with very basic addition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing a character, you know, I'm using one half of my brain and the other half of the brain is knocking, being like, it's this, and I'm like, what? The brains don't work at the same time, you know?
Yeah. I do wonder if at some point in the future, if we become like overly reliant on AI, if the AI will go through and change the way that we conceptualize certain things like time.
Like a calendar? Like Tolkien did? Like 50 years, 80 years ago?
But, you know, like I do, if we do end up in a place where we have like an AGI, right? Like if there was something that literally runs things for us. If we end up in that kind of society, I don't think we will. I think I genuinely think the problem with AGI will always be the power draw would just be so vast that we would not have the resources to like maintain it. Because the problem with an AGI is how much of human energy would go into building the building for it, and then who is replacing it, right? Like you run into the problem. It doesn't matter. The point is, if we were end up in that situation where we have this AI that is like literally just kind of in charge, and we all just kind of live our lives while the AI takes care of things in the background.
Yeah, our calendar would not look like 30, 31, 30, 28, 30.
Is there a world where the AI like sends out like an executive decree one day and is like, the way you guys talk about shit is dumb. Everyone on Earth is doing meters. There's no more feet. I don't want to hear about a yard. Like the AI just like very frustrated. That might actually be a funny short film though. Of the AI one day being like, all right, I'm in charge of the whole planet.
Executive decision.
Oh, maybe that could be a funny TikTok.
Yeah, we could make that.
Like the presidents and prime ministers of the world are all called in by the AI, and the AI just goes through and is like, this is all the dumb shit you guys do.
So you guys need to stop doing this. Yeah, this is absolutely unacceptable.
We're going to take a vote right now, and everyone is driving on the right or left side of the road. There is no more opposite sides. We're doing one or the other, team.
Everyone's got the same driving tests. Yeah. Same license, same signage, okay?
I do actually think that the dominant reason why that language in the future, humans will speak one language primarily, is going to be that whichever AI wins the race will dominate. Yeah. And I think that the English being the global language of commerce is only so long as China does not have the dominant AI. And if the dominant AI is Chinese, then Mandarin will become basically mandatory. Because the reality is that people will adapt, right? Yeah. And I think that if our primary way of communicating is with a Mandarin AI, we will lose languages.
Oh, we're already losing languages.
Oh, 100%. But there just won't be a reason to speak languages outside of the interacting with the thing that runs your life.
Yeah,
right?
I tried to find a high school that would teach me Gaelic. Nope, not in Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah, but you tried to find that in Calgary.
Yeah, so?
You also can't find a high school to teach you like 90% of the languages on the planet in Calgary.
Well,
I doubt there's a high school in Calgary that teaches fucking like Zulu.
Well,
and that's a lot of people speak Zulu. A lot more people on the planet speak Zulu than fucking.
Look, there's like 7 people that speak Gaelic, and they're my people, and I wanted.
And you
to
thought
learn
one of them was going to be in Calgary, Alberta, Canada?
Sure, why not? Why not? Arzu says, so you think AI will be all for homogenization? Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of its point and why it's so dangerous.
I actually don't think that
AI doesn't understand culture.
There's that problem. I don't think AI would necessarily try to enforce homogenization. No, I think that human beings homogenize to whatever's going to be easiest for them. And I think that whatever the AI is the most interesting, whatever way to use the AI is easiest would be what people would adapt to.
That's the thing. It's all about simplification and making things like the easiest way forward, and doing that would be losing a lot of individuality.
Well, and all you have to do is look at the way that languages around the world have kind of adapted to the modern world. How many look at Japanese, right? How much of Japanese is just because of their close business ties with the United States. How much of spoken Japanese now is just borrowed words from English, right? Like if you want to ask someone about their smartphone in Japan, you just say smartphone. Mm-hmm. And there is actually a word for smartphone in Japanese, but it's not really used, right? And this is something my sister, who taught there and is fluent in Japanese, and I talk about sometimes, of like, at what point are you just speaking English? Like how in the modern world, where if you're not creating new words to go along with, and part of this comes from companies, right? There was a lawsuit in France where a radio show got sued because they said that one of the hosts said that they Facebooked something. And the lawsuit was about the fact that was free advertisement for Facebook because they used the company's word. They used the name of the company as a verb.
So you can't say I Googled something?
No, I searched something. I know, but this is because France is trying to protect its language laws. Right. France is trying to protect French. Is trying to like protect the language from those influences. Yeah. Because once you start to use the English company name as a word in French, you know what I mean? Like they literally are trying to build a pyramid. They're trying to build a gate around the language to maintain it. Right. And I think the biggest barrier to those gates would also be...
That's why they fucking like sneer at you if you go to Quebec City and try and speak English.
100%. Yeah. Less so Montreal, but in Quebec, yeah, absolutely. I think that I think the biggest like ground for those gates is if the AI that you interact with every day puts everything in millimeters first, Americans will adapt.
Well, it's why Canada has such a fucked up system in terms of measurement. Because technically, we are... oh my god. I'm forgetting which one is which now. We use the imperial system, right? The U.S. has metric, or am I getting that backwards now?
No, you're back.
Yeah. So we have the metric system.
Yeah.
But if you ask someone in Canada how tall they are, they will not be able to tell you in centimeters.
No. Yeah, I'm 6'4".
If you go to Europe, they will know how tall they are in centimeters. But in Canada, because we are so close, physically and just culturally and just with tourism, we are so close to the U.S. There are certain things that we have the weirdest blend of that system. If you're talking about cooking temperature, that's different than outside temperature, which is different than pool temperature. We have our own weird way of doing things, which is a strange blend of what is supposed to be standard and our closeness with the U.S.
Well, this book even talks about this idea, right, with the 30-hour day on Illis. And how quickly they adapt to it. And they are oh yeah, you work for a third of the day. You have a 10-hour work. You have a 10-hour your life, and then you have 10 hours to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds fucking great, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't need that much sleep. But if I had 20 hours and then 10 hours to be my sleep time, and still feel like I had full days, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But also with the Avasarala thing, Avasarala is hey, look, you guys have all believed in this Mars mission forever, but everyone's gonna drop it immediately. It's dead. It's dead immediately, right? And I think the same thing is gonna happen with language eventually, where once something makes it easier for us to all kind of once culture assimilates a little bit more than it already has. It's just gonna be too hard to keep certain languages alive because there's not gonna be a reason to.
Yeah.
And I'm your grandparents will, right? But our generation will hold on to the languages we grew up in. Mm-hmm. But fuck, we can't get kids now to learn English.
Yeah.
Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they don't care about the languages they're growing up in. They don't have cultural connections to language because they're so global. And because everybody is so global, the idea that they're going to hold on to those cultural institutions, to me, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think even if AI fails, I think the idea that we're going to keep so many different languages alive is, and it saddens me because I love languages and I love singing in different languages. I'm not saying this because it brings me joy. I just can't see a future where we have nearly the number of languages that we currently have actively being spoken, just because I don't know that young people are going to care about their own cultures very much.
Yeah.
Because we have so much immigration. We have so many people going everywhere. And I just think that it's going to be... justifying why we keep things around is going to be hard. Eventually, everyone will be speaking Belta. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe we do all pick up a patois and fucking Creole takes over, Yeah. I don't know. It's just fascinating. And it's one of the ways in which I do think this book is really smart is the way that it comments on that. And the fact that human beings can talk about keeping culture as much as they want and caring about it, but we drop it fast. We drop culture so fast. And we drop it because of any kind of financial pressure. We drop it because we eschew parts of our own culture constantly. And
yeah,
that's just the reality of the world. I think that people think that cultural institutions are these bastions that we have to uphold forever. But how many cultural institutions are that old? Right? Musical theater as an art form is 100 years old. It's probably going to be dead in 20 years. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I it's what my degree's in, but it's been so commercialized. Who's going? Who cares about Broadway? Broadway is dying. Every new musical closes. The only things that stay open are Book of Mormon and Wicked and Lion King, and the idea that like Broadway and musical theater are going to be this cultural institution for the rest of human history because we made it happen for a period of time is insanity. There'll still be theater, right? Like, but like there's just going to be something else. I'm not saying we've run to the end of musical theater, but currently there's certainly no money in any like creative form of musical theater, and so we're just making movies as musicals for the next few years until, look at movies. There was a period of time where every hit was a Western, just every single one. No one makes a fucking Western anymore. And then it was superhero movies. Superhero movies are fucking dying. Like, let's not... I love them, and I cannot wait for Spider-Man. I'm very excited for Avengers Doomsday. The genre's dying, man. Fucking The Boys is dying. The satire of musical theater is like, kind of... not limping to its finish, but it's certainly...
Superheroes. Not musical theater.
Sorry. Yeah, superheroes. Yeah. Like, The Boys is sort of limping to the end of the satire of the genre because it's hard to satirize a genre that's kind of dying. Mm-hmm. The Boys is having to satirize real-world political storylines because there's nothing left in the MCU to make fun of.
Yeah.
You're kicking a horse that's on its last leg. Yeah. It wouldn't be funny. You know what I mean? Like, cultural institutions change and go away. And we try and keep them alive. There's still people doing kabuki theater in Japan. They're not making $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things change. Things go. And sometimes it happens slowly, like with musical theater, which has been sort of, I think, slowly on the decline since 9/11, really. Or you have this quick thing of illness exists, and so we go out.
Yeah.
Mars is dead. Long live Mars, but elsewhere. Long live Martians. But it's just interesting. It's really fascinating. It's just so fascinating to me. The way in which we get obsessed with culture and we're like, this has to be protected forever. But no culture has ever been protected forever.
Yeah. That's true.
I think rap music right now is in the worst place it's been in my lifetime. Just culturally, you know what I mean? Who's like the big rapper right now?
Childish Gambino.
He literally doesn't make rap music anymore.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like
I know.
The culture institutions of my life are all kind of fading. And new things are popping up. And they're cool. They're brilliant. We're getting Dungeon Crawler Carl. We're getting fucking the Stormlight Archive. We're getting, like, there are things happening. Still Eminem. I mean, but, like...
Yeah.
If you were going to put rappers in the fucking Super Bowl halftime show, they did it a couple years ago. And it was all people from when I was in high school.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was fucking... Snoop Dogg. I would argue Snoop Dogg is still probably the most famous rapper. Just because of how he's managed to expand outside of rap into kind of being... God, Snoop Dogg is everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Snoop Dogg is... Like, I don't understand what his schedule looks like, but Snoop Dogg is always on television somewhere. Either in an ad, or, like, on a cooking show, or, like...
He stayed relevant by, like, leaning towards MAGA.
Snoop Dogg might be the most relevant person on the planet. It's crazy.
No, I do think that, like, Taylor Swift would be...
Sure, but Taylor Swift doesn't do other things. Snoop Dogg is in everything.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that no matter what walk of life you are in, Snoop Dogg has his toes in your walk of life somehow. If you told me that man had, like, a very expensive Magic the Gathering deck and he's played Warhammer...
The most successful sellout in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. No, I agree with that, Erudite.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Him and that little criminal friend of his. Martha Stewart.
The baker?
Yeah.
Oh.
That little felon. I worked for her. She's very sweet.
Okay, I don't know what
I didn't work for. I catered for parties for her. Yeah, no, she went to jail. She went to prison, like, very famously for insider trading.
Good for her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, I think the way this book talks about culture is fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, I think we're near wrapping up here, but The last point I want to bring up, because I really loved it, and I hope to see it play out over the next 5 books, is the way in which this book has them talk about the fact that within 2 generations, the children of these Elusians aren't going to be Belters.
Yep.
And that's all it takes.
Born and raised in gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forth says, I'm in my 40s, not finding new music that excites me like I did when I was younger. That's actually something that I agree with a lot. I listen to a lot of the same stuff that I have listened to my whole life. There's not a lot of new stuff that I find. Anything new is like Instagram's been pushing me Celtic techno, which has been fun. Like that's been a cool like new thing, but there's just so much out there now in terms of content that we don't have all of our friends who come together that like we all heard this one song, right?
We're not big music people.
No, but
I really loved Janelle Monáe's last album. I thought that album was banging.
Yeah, it does feel different than it did growing up.
Well, because music isn't a cultural institution anymore. It used to be, right? Like music. God, man, I know that our show. I don't know why I'm saying this as if there are young people who watch a show. I know the age of the show are our age or older.
Yeah.
But like I remember when I would like be excited to go home with my friends to go watch the new music video that had been hyped all week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like it was Friday, school was out,
yeah,
and there is a new Britney Spears music video. And like that was like
Black Eyed Peas put out My Humps. Like
yeah. Like I remember the Toxic music video was Every Night's 24. Oh shit. Well then you probably didn't know this. I really love Janelle Monáe's last album. You could not be more bisexual, sir.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Janelle Monáe's last album. I thought it was a fucking banger. I listened to it a lot.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I remember when Toxic came out and it was a cultural like shitstorm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people were so mad. Whereas like, what was the last music video
Same with like Hollaback Girl.
Although, you know what? I
Like,
take that back. Sabrina Carpenter is doing the music video game strong. She's pissing people off, but she's getting views. She's getting a lot of hot women in skimpy outfits to make out with each other.
Where do I submit my resume?
You're not famous enough.
Damn it.
She had like her and Jenna Ortega made out in the that one.
Oh right, the one where they're like killing each other.
Yeah, and then the one that's like I can take you to the house door.
Yeah. I
can take you to the first. Apparently that music video, I haven't watched it. Apparently very very scantily clad.
Love it.
And Margaret Qualley from Substance is in it, but she has fake boobs on. I don't know. I haven't watched it, so I've just kind of seen threads about it. But like, you know, I say threads now because I don't want to talk about Twitter. Like, that's a cultural shift. Yeah. It just is. I don't talk about tweets anymore. I talk about threads because I like being on threads.
Everyone used to be like, I got this news from Twitter, and that you don't say that anymore.
And the craziest, well, because all you get on Twitter is fucking right-wing propaganda, but the crazy thing about threads is it's still Mark Zuckerberg. I don't even like Mark Zuckerberg.
I know.
And I'm still under him again because I'm like, well, fuck, at least it's not Elon Musk.
Yeah, at least it's not Elon Musk is such a low bar, but here we are.
But like, there's so many situations I would say that about. Like, there's so many people I would walk into a room, and there's some like really shitty dudes in the world that I would walk into and be like, oh, fuck, at least it's not Elon Musk.
Yep, facts. Yeah.
Oh man. It is funny that one thing I love about the Expanse and the Expanse book clubs is that we always end up having these very different conversations about culture and politics in them. And these books inspire that. There's so much in these books about the modern world. And it is why I think this series is so successful. Even in this book that I did not enjoy as much as the other ones is I think that there's just something about the way these books inspire me to think about the way I'm interacting with my world that makes them successful. Yeah. And that's cool, man. Yeah. I'm fairly critical of this book, especially in comparison to how brilliant I think the first 3 are. Yeah. But it still got me there. It still made me feel things, and like if that's not a successful art, what is? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good book club.
Good fucking book club.
Yeah.
Thanks y'all for joining us. A little bit of a shorter one today, but it's tough with this series. We've seen the show. Yeah, it's almost hard to like be like, let's talk about the plot.
Yeah, and like we talked about what was similar, different, dislike. I did not finish that book feeling like I had a lot to say about it, whereas I have with the others, and I do think that kind of it says enough in and of itself. But it was still good. I still I still enjoyed a good amount of it, and so I'm excited to move on to the next one though.
I loved Miller's final moments with Okoye.
Yeah,
really liked that, and the fact that we didn't even talk about it, but Okoye being like, "Will it kill me?" and he's like, "I don't know." Is that going to stop you? And he's like, "No."
Yeah,
I loved that beat quite a bit.
Yeah,
there's so many beats in this book that are fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, Naomi and Holden's relationship is just so sweet.
Yeah.
When he... we didn't talk about it. The awkward moment when he's like, I need to tell you, I know there's this tension between us. I am in a very committed relationship. And like, yes, my parents were polyamorous and like, they were in a polycule, but I don't think that's what... I was like, Holden? My boy.
Yeah, that was
She's like, oh, no. I actually just got fucked so hard. We're good.
We're good now. Yeah. I didn't realize I was just horny,
Oh my god.
Blue balls.
Oh my god. I wish I could get out of the friend zone by being like, he's in a relationship. Fuck me, I'm here.
Oh my god.
That's never worked for me, but Fayez, man.
He's got game.
Yeah, James S.A. Corey out here writing male power fantasies.
Yeah, that's the Expanse. Definitely a male power fantasy.
All you need to do, this is the lesson I learned from this book. Let's smut corner this really quick. This is the smut corner I learned from this book. If you need a woman to fuck you, because you want her real bad, all you need to do is fly her 2 years away from anyone and not let her have sex with anyone in that time. And then be like, hey, you'll be a better scientist if you fuck me right now.
Yeah. You feeling a little frustrated over there? I can help with that.
The lesson we learned from Cibola Byrne. Clarice, what's your high for book 4 of The Expanse?
Wowie. Again, there were actually several great moments in this book. I will say, I do think that my favorite part of this book, other than the epilogue, is actually Havelock's journey throughout it. Okay. When he was introduced at the beginning, in his POV, sorry, not introduced, but you know what I mean. He's like, he is aware enough to know that he takes on the sensibilities of the people around him in a way that I very much relate to. Yeah. And so I found his journey of breaking out of that and actually doing the right thing at the end to be quite enjoyable. So that's my favorite part of this book, I think. Yeah. Practically Incarnate says, did you expect to see Havelock again? Definitely didn't. Nope. That was the implication. James Ross. Oh wow, what's your low? We should buy a boat because the implication. God, that scene is so fucking funny. My low, just that middle chunk of the book, where you can just feel like the book is waiting to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just, you can feel the time being like, the book has to be this length, and so we're just gonna circle this for a while. Yeah. And once it starts to pick back up again, it does get good enough that like the book overall is good. But there's just that period where I really was struggling. Yeah. And I was listening at like 2.05 speed. This guy speaks so slow. I love him. He's an incredible actor. 2.05? I don't think that exists. I think it's 2.5. No. Or 2.25. I don't think you can do... Can you pull it up by increments less than 0.1? Yeah. Oh, I did not know that. There was a point in this book where I got up to 2.3. Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. I think I was at 2.3 for a lot of this book. And then when we reacted to it, I was like,
It felt like we went to the slow zone.
Slow,
It felt like
yeah.
we crashed into the ring. I was like, what the... Like, sometimes the problem
Yeah.
with how I listen to audiobooks versus how we react to audiobooks is that I actually, like, have a hard time listening. You listen at 3.25? James Ross, that's great. I thought people were going to be mad at me for saying 2.3.
James Ross already knows all the sciencey stuff, so...
You are smart. No, I listened to this one at 2.3 mostly.
Yeah, I was at 2.
I slowly worked my way up to it, and then I went to 2.5, and it was a little bit too much. So I went back down. I found like 2.3 was a sweet spot for me. But then when we hit the audiobook reaction,
These books especially are like, he does speak very slowly
and it was
deliberately.
the chapter was such a good reaction
Oh
chapter.
yeah, it was banging.
Havelock was so funny, but like my brain, it sounds like a different narrator.
Yeah.
But yeah, my low is just that middle section.
My low is that no one listens to Holden about the protomolecule, and I just find that kind of silly. Yeah.
He is like the guy I would listen to.
Yeah.
Given everything, and like the fact that he's the reason anyone survived the slow zone.
Yeah.
And like I know they don't know about Miller, but like the only guy to survive everywhere the protomolecule's been.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm putting aside like the company. And
I do love that in the show, Holden tells him about Miller. He's like, yeah, I got a dude in my head.
Well, and Avasarala knows about Miller, which I think is odd in the show.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Holden would want... Because, like, if they knew that, I feel like Earth would, like, kidnap him and experiment on him.
Maybe.
I feel like he doesn't tell people out of the... I wouldn't tell the government.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Yeah, that is fair. What is your high?
Honorable mention is the commentary about how hot Amos looks wearing casts and things. I thought that was just a very funny bit of writing about like, goddamn, does he make being injured look good? I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
My actual high is just the epilogue. I think the epilogue of this is one of my favorite chapters in the series. I think it is... There is a kindness in not being kind to a friend. And I think that Avasarala understands... Avasarala is written in a way where she understands people so well that what she needs to do in that moment is be so blunt with Bobby that there is no room for Bobby to be like, well, no, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
She is so, like... And there's something about the way that she is so blunt that makes me believe in my heart of hearts she genuinely loves Bobby. Not like loves, like, not like a daughter or something, but just like genuinely cares for this person.
Yeah.
And will use her and, wants her to work for her, but there's real care there between them. And it's the kind of care that comes from a real relationship where you're able to be like, I'm going to give you the harshest reality here, and I need you to understand that I'm telling you this for serious reasons.
Yeah.
And... she didn't couch any of it. And I felt care in that in such an odd way. And I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
And just the intelligence of it and the way it's broken down to really understand why this is happening and why it's a problem is I just think brilliant.
Yeah.
If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is... Headbutt. Headbutt.
True. Okoye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She walked into the fucking eye of God.
Yeah.
To save a bunch of people, not knowing she was going to walk out the other side. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, bamf.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to our mods. We appreciate you all coming for book club. Next week, we are covering Cradle Book 2.
Yeah.
Will I hate it? We don't know yet.
We will find out.
Didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
I think that was the worst book club we ever did.
Yeah.
And we did for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was just like, I think it was just about this.
One of those. I think it was one of those things. I'm gonna be so honest with you right now. I'm gonna be so real.
Oh no.
I think that you were so hung up on the fact that you thought that this guy had just stolen a bunch of stuff and put it into a novel. That was like.
It was so derivative.
That was 40% of book club, and I was like,
Here's the problem about doing book 2 is someone might go back and read watch those episodes.
Oh, and be like, oh,
and
God.
be like, wow, this is literally the worst of Nerdy Nightly. It's either that or that one book club where we argued about slavery for like 2 hours in Wheel of Time. That one was pretty rough too.
Yeah, who knows?
God, I'm such an asshole.
That was one of the worst during this. Yeah, the slog. Yeah, the slog was. There was some roughery.
I just want you all to know. I understand you're here for Claris because I don't like me either.
Oh my God.
If we're being completely honest.
Oh my God. Sure.
I know a lot of the internet doesn't like me. I think that's fair. I'm not the biggest fan of myself. So take that and run with it as you will. Carlos is so mad at me now. Do something nerdy tonight, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.